What is good, Defenders Nation, and welcome to the most LAFC podcast on earth. At least the night before a match, you know what time it is. It's time for one more sleep, and we've got a fun one coming up at BMO Stadium tomorrow. Oh my goodness. Ilie returns. Thank you to everybody in the chat. You know my voice. It's the Scarf, J.R. Liebert. And sitting way across the interwebs from me today would be 26.2 himself, or at least soon to be yet again, one Chris Lafferty, everybody.
Want to give a big old howdy doody. That's right. We got the boys from Texas coming in this week. So I pulled out the old cowboy hat, ready to go. JR, I am fired up to be back with you for another episode, my friend.
My man, super fun, super excited to welcome Ilie Sanchez. Not necessarily the rest of Austin FC, but we always like seeing Ilie Sanchez for sure. And it's all about righting the ship. We know we advanced in CONCACAF Champions Cup, obviously. But, I mean, my goodness, it has been a rough go of sorts, 5-2 to Seattle and now 2-1 to Columbus. We need to get our defense back in order as it was once. The best defense, at least in my opinion, in Major League Soccer. We got to turn it back around, and we've got to do it while welcoming a couple of very, very good new wingers into Major League Soccer, and we'll talk about them in a little bit. Just want to give everybody a couple of quick updates. Number one, congrats to LAFC 2 for beating Ventura County FC 3-1 in the first Dose Derby, of 2025, the Dose Derby. It used to be, of course, Galaxy 2 and LAFC 2, but they've moved on to Ventura County FC. Have Los Gross. So big congratulations. Say it again.
As we know, Ventura County is LA. If you're going by Galaxy logic. It is. But
there you go.
I digress.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, just stoked that they were able to win. This one was at Titan Stadium, so congrats to the boys for getting the home win in the Dose Derby 3-1. Just another good performance for LAFC 2. This time they were able to hold it over the course of both halves, unlike their first match of the season. And also, yes, the tickets have gone on sale. The date is set. It is April 2nd. And I think it's an 8:30 kickoff. Apple TV, MLS trying to milk everything they can for this Inter-Miami LAFC first of two legs in the CONCACAF Champions Cup round of 8. Yes, one Lionel Messi will be in the stadium. And if you go to Ticketmaster or to wherever else, be prepared. There's another zero in the place where you're used to seeing LAFC tickets. I saw tickets for as much as like $5,000 or $6,000 in Founders Club, which, by the way, if anybody wants to buy my 2 tickets in Founders Club for that price, hit me up directly. I'll give them to you for 10% off whatever that price was. So just let me know if that's what you want to spend on those. Look, we're very excited that Messi's coming to town, but let's get back on track. Lafferty, one of our favorite players in club history, comes back to town. And, of course, that would be Ilie Sanchez.
Look, I'll say it, my favorite of all time. I'll put him above guys like Carlos Vela. I'll put him above guys like Denis Bouanga. Nothing but love for those guys. Ilie Sanchez was just something else. He was more than play on the pitch. He had that, but he instilled confidence in the team for us. He brought that steady leadership that we so needed at many times last year, in his entire tenure, and just overall one of the best people you could ever meet and get to know. Ilie Sanchez, it's a work in progress, this team we have now, and it's yet to be written in stone, but who knows what kind of an impact not having a guy like Ilie will lead to us for the season. I'm certainly excited to welcome him back, and I'm going to be cheering for him, not for Austin, but I will root for Ilie no matter where he goes.
Yeah, the leadership void, at least right now, still seems to be open. on LAFC. We're missing one of our captains from last year, although Aaron Long has done a wonderful job with the captain's armband this season. But yeah, it's what Ilie brings to the table, maybe off the pitch, maybe those intangibles that don't always show up on the stat sheet. And he's certainly getting run in Austin. They love to run this 4-4-2 with a double six, which fits somebody like Ilie Sanchez perfectly. Ilie alongside of Danny Pereira, who is one of my favorite midfielders in MLS to watch. It's been a really interesting system that hasn't worked for them just yet. But look, a couple of players that we certainly have to highlight before we get into who our players of the match are keys to the match, players to watch, and all those other wonderful things. And I'm realizing right now, as I did that, I don't think I uploaded the slides. So I'm going to do that while I'm talking. But a couple of big players that we have to make sure that we are watching out for are the two new designated players for Austin FC. They bring on a 29-year-old Albanian winger in Mirto Uzuni. He wears the 10 shirt. He was the 22-23 Golden Boot winner in La Liga 2 for Granada, and that was in a promotion year for Granada, coming up from La Liga 2 into La Liga. And look, you'll see this as a theme for both of these guys that they brought in. It was Champions League and Champions League qualification experience that they wanted to bring in. And all Mirto Uzuni did is 7 goals and 4 assists in Champions League or Champions League qualifying matches, which is super impressive. And their other new big signing was Osman Bukhari, the 26-year-old Ghanaian winger. He played in France, Belgium, and Serbia before coming over to Austin. 5 goals and 4 assists in his Champions League or Champions League qualifiers. And Osman Bukhari, oh, by the way, has also scored the only goal for Austin FC this season. When we talk about it hasn't been working, it certainly hasn't been working for Austin with these 2 new designated players. I mentioned 2 new designated players because Lafferty, as you and I both know, their 3rd new designated player with no Sebastian Triusi on the roster this season is a player who MLS fans and even Liga MX fans over there in Monterrey know very, very well in Brandon Vasquez.
I had the pleasure of seeing Brandon Vasquez actually last year, I believe, when I visited Cincinnati. But wait, no, or was he before? I lose track. Anyway, but Brandon Vasquez had a great career in MLS so far. Former MVP caliber player, an exciting player as well. One of the best in the leagues that we've ever seen. So for him, if Austin's going to get their goal scoring going, get their offense on the right track, they're going to need a guy like Brandon Vasquez, who's still young at 26. So I think if you're Austin, you're expecting big things from him, not only because of what he's capable of doing, but his familiarity with the league as well.
Yeah, look, he caught fire early for Monterrey. He wound up with 14 goals in like 49 matches for Monterrey, and then 43 goals, 15 assists in his time with FC Cincinnati. Still, of course, obviously looking for his first goal in an Austin shirt this season. Those are the big guys to watch. And I'm telling you, I think this could turn into a track meet at some point tomorrow. I think it's going to be interesting to see how players like Danny Pereira and Ilie Sanchez attempt to control possession and tempo versus players like Mark Delgado and Igor Jesus. I think that, to me, is the most intriguing matchup. It's where we really got shown the door against Columbus, where our midfield was just dominated for most of the 90 minutes of that match. And look, I think it's going to be interesting to see if Austin can push the pace and keep the tempo going and get their 3 designated players up top and rolling. I think it could be a lot of trouble for LAFC. But look, I haven't seen a track meet that Denis Bouanga and David Martinez have not wanted to be a part of. So I like our chances with all of our big guys up top. That being said, Laugh, why don't we get into our players to watch, and then we can talk about our keys to the match and score predictions in a moment. What do you say?
Let's get into it.
All right. I'm going to take the Philly role for this, if you don't mind. And I don't think it gets any lower on the hanging fruit tree than Denis Bouanga and Brandon Vasquez. Look, Denis needs to get the ship going again. Obviously, we know that the goal, which was basically procured by Cengiz Under on a beautiful interception and then run through the middle of the park, that goal to me was absolutely incredible, not just because of what Cengiz Under did, but because we had a dead tired Denis Bouanga 96 minutes in the match run a 70-yard sprint to get on the other end of that ball. And that just continues to crystallize. Philly says it all the time. He's the hardest working player on LAFC. It just continues to crystallize how incredible of an athlete and how much he just doesn't give up on any ball at any time. Denis Bouanga is must-see TV at any second on the pitch. And I think he is going to have a lot to say in the scoreline tomorrow. And look, I think Brandon Vasquez, the San Diego native coming back to Southern California, a place where he really wants to show up and show out. He'll likely have a lot of friends and family in the stands. I really think this is going to be a match where he attempts to get his season underway. 3 matches and not a lot to show for it so far. So Brandon Vasquez, they paid a boatload of money to bring him over from Monterrey. And Denis Bouanga, again, I don't know if it gets any easier to pick 2-star players like that. But I guess if I were Vegas, I'm kind of going with the money and with the star players. But knowing you, Chris Lafferty, you're going with the heart for sure on this one for your 2 players to watch.
I am, but before you, there they are.
Sorry.
All right.
Look, it never happened.
Never happened. Didn't see a thing. Anyway, going back to that point, it may be what you call the low-hanging fruit, but they're very good observations. And the thing was, I was almost going to pick Denis Bouanga for my player to watch as well because of what we saw in the last game. When Cengiz Under came on, I think that was the talk of it. Oh, the debut of Under. But to me, what he was more the alarm clock that awoke the sleeping giant in Denis Bouanga. So I'm curious to see, and I'm going to be keeping an eye out for how Denis comes back out in this next match, now having the support from a player like Under that he didn't have before, but that he was so desperately seeking for as well. A player like Brandon Vasquez, you said he might have a lot of friends and family in the stands. I won't be one of them. That's all I got to say about him. But hey, here we go with my actual players to watch. And while I chose to go, the opposite of the offense here, I wanted to go defense and midfield for a big reason. One, it looks like for the first time this season, we have Maxime Chanot in the 18 available to play for us. Now, if you watched any of the episodes that I filled in for Philly last year, you would have noticed that I picked Maxime Chanot as my player to watch pretty much every time I came on this show. But for good reason. A guy like Maxime Chanot is what we've been relying on a really good defense to start the season. We're starting to see things slip or some things change. Maybe some guys getting exposed, whatever the case may be. We need a guy like Maxime Chanot in the back who is at steady hand, the anchor, tough, and will not back down from anybody and will, in fact, bring the heat to any offensive players from the other teams coming in that we're facing. So I think a guy like Maxime Chanot is really going to bolster our defense and give us a leg up over Austin in this game. And it's going to be a really welcome sight. I know there are a lot of fans who have problems with Eddie Segura for multiple different reasons. But I think when you add a guy like Maxime Chanot in, a lot of those issues are going to go away. And he's going to really take the load for our defense. As far as Austin, the obvious here. I'm watching Ilie Sanchez in this match. I mean, just for what he meant to this club out there, it's going to be an emotional day for a lot of people because he's so well loved. But also, I want to see how Ilie is going to lead his new team. I think that already from the people that you speak with, I have some friends in Austin, and I also had friends or met people at the Coachella Valley Invitational where Austin was playing. And when I talked to them, they were raving about Ilie and everything he's already brought to the team. So I think that you're seeing a renewed sense of optimism and encouragement by having a captain like Ilie Sanchez now for Austin, which is what they've been lacking ever since their good run in 2022. They've kind of fallen off. But now you're starting to see them play a lot better. And I think the leadership of Ilie Sanchez is starting to unlock a lot of doors for them. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do against a real test in LAFC.
Yeah, look, we're hoping Maxime Chanot is able to be a part of the match. We do have word that both he and Odin Thiago Holm will be available for selection, whether that means they start or in the 18 or come off the bench at all. We'll have to see what happens. But if anybody is familiar with Chris Lafferty, you know he loves himself some Maxime Chanot. And I think Genuine Cougar put it best. Who doesn't love Ilie Sanchez? Look, for me, my keys to the match are simple. We need to play with bad intentions, number one. I felt like the entire 90 minutes up until that Cengiz Under interception in the 6th minute of stoppage time, the entire 90 minutes, LAFC was punched in the mouth. And I keep saying that because I don't know that I have seen a match where, for the most part, for the entire 90 minutes, LAFC continued to get punched in the mouth over and over and over again. Now, yes, we had a bend and only sometimes break defense in Columbus, but I've got to be honest, the way that we played, LAFC needs to find a way to get their swagger back, and we need to play with bad intentions. Whether that's an early crunching tackle in the midfield on one of their designated player stars, or whether that's just continuing to get the ball moving forward rather than to the side or behind us, where 90% it felt like our passes were against Columbus in this last match. LAFC needs to play with bad intentions. And on top of that, the obvious thing is that we can't string together these passes. We can't get as many crosses and as many corners and all the different set pieces that we have been able to get over these last few matches without achieving some good results. We need to get some combination play going. We need to get some offensive dynamism going. And it's going to have to come from our midfield, because our midfield has been dominated over the last couple of matches. So it's going to be up to us to both play with bad intentions and to achieve those good results. Lafferty, your keys to the match.
Well, before I get into my keys, if you're looking at the chat, which I definitely encourage, you can keep them up. You can definitely, if you look in the chat, which I definitely encourage everyone to do, Omar Campos has joined us, and he so kindly asked, how many costumes does Laugh have? So, and I've got my hat, got my gold chains, I've got my gold bow tie. I mean, Omar, if you, I don't know, if this were a regular episode of Not One More Sleep and I had twice the amount of time, I could pull out a few more. But I digress, and I'll move on. So my keys to the match for tomorrow are going to be absorb.
No, I'm on that. I put the wrong one for you. Give me just one moment here. This is fun. This is you guys can see how quickly we can make this happen. Watch this. Let's see.
Well, absorb was kind of the point of it too, but yeah.
I'm going to try something. Watch this. Let's see here.
See, right now, as you can tell, everybody, if you look at Scarf's background, he's not at BMO Stadium because, well, it's not daylight out. He's traveling, and that's his background that he put up. So have no fear. We're working through some things. Travel. It's
there you go.
Throw a wrench to the plans. Here we go. Awesome. Look at that. Look at that. All right. So my real keys to the game for this are forwards. Go forward. If you watch the Columbus game, what we saw was a lot of just lateral passes back and forth. Every time the defense would make a clear and it would go to the midfield, it was just we were trying to just volley it back and forth to each other, but we were never going forward and on the attack. It wasn't really until Under's give and go that we really made an attempt at the goal or a solid drive downfield. So I want our offense to really take over and go towards the goal. It was just frustrating watching that last match, feeling like it was just biding time until we gave it back to Columbus. I want our guys to really give ourselves some chances and put Austin on their back heels. So when I say forwards go forward, I think we're going to have a strong attack from no matter who's in the front three at any point, whether it be Bouanga, Under, Martinez, Ordaz, Abobasi, any of those other guys, I really want to see a lot more from them about striking and taking it to Austin and putting them on their back heels and making their defense work all day.
Listen, if our offense takes over, it might have to be under. So we'll see what happens. There are just so many different ways to continue to work that in over the course of our season. I can't wait. We've only got him for 6 months, but someone called him the Undertaker, which I absolutely loved. That was just there's so many good ones out there, you guys. Look, I think I'm going to go conservative on this one. I'm going to go conservative because I think this will be a battle. I think this will absolutely be a battle. It's going to be fun to watch. And look, if I'm wrong and it's not 2-1, I think it's going to be something like 5-2. I think it's going to be a track meet. I think they're just going to run all over BMO Stadium. And I think LAFC either way wins this one going away because I think we will have figured some things out. And I think if it's not close, I think it's going to be an absolute track meet. But look, I'm going to go conservative with this one against my better judgment and say 2-1. But luckily, I don't have to worry about being conservative because we have Chris Lafferty on the podcast tonight, and he's going to go a little bit more ostentatious and bold with his prediction.
3-1. 3-1. I think, like I said, I want our forwards going forward. I think Bouanga puts one in. I think Abobasi puts one in. And I think Martinez puts one in the back of the net. He's come so close. He's working super hard, and he's just knocking on that doorstep. And I think just like I called under the alarm clock for Denny Bouanga and awoke the sleeping giant, I think the same thing has happened for David Martinez. He is going to wake up. He is going to find his groove, and we're going to start seeing that guy take off. So I'm looking forward to what our players are going to bring on offense, especially tomorrow. I think they're going to listen to this episode and they're going to heed my call. They're going to hear the challenge that I laid forth to them, and they are going to put 3 in the back of the net. And the one coming from Austin is going to be for Ilie Sanchez, and I'm going to stand up and cheer for him because he's my favorite player of all time for LAFC.
Wow, so you're saying Ilie scores a goal at BMO tomorrow. All right, I guess.
In the South End. On the South End goal.
Genuine Cougar, the over-under lets us know it's a 2.5. Look, it's mythical money that we're talking about here, folks. We don't advocate sports betting in any way, shape, or form, so don't ever do that. But, oh my goodness, take the over on this one. I think it is going to be a track meet. It's going to be so much fun to watch. It's going to be up to the midfield to control tempo. Chris Lafferty has 3-1. I have 2-1. And, Chris, with that, I'm going to give you the final word on something that I know is near and dear to both of our hearts here. If you don't mind, Chris Lafferty, the floor.
Thank you, Scarf. Behind me, all episode, you'll have seen my race day shirt, or the official LA Marathon shirt that I picked up today at the expo. So I want to put this out to all of my fellow LAFC fans. I'm putting the call out to act. See, this Sunday, I'm one of 15 members of the Black and Gold Running Club who are going to go out there and we're going to take it to the streets of our city, representing not only our running club, but our club in the LA Marathon. And we need as many people as we can get out to our cheer zone on Hollywood Boulevard, right across from the TCL Chinese Theater. See, it makes such a big difference for every runner, not only us in the running club. And I'm asking you to come out and lend your support, your voice, to cheer, to drum, and show everyone around the world running in LA this weekend that LA is truly black and gold. For more information, you can go check out the Black and Gold Running Club Instagram with all of the info and details about where we're going to be, where the club is going to be. And I really would hope that everybody can make it out on Sunday morning to cheer on everybody running in the marathon. We really could use your support. It makes a huge difference. And I'm looking forward to being out there and running for LA Football Club.
Absolutely love it. I think you guys said they're setting up at mile 11 at one point. Was that right?
That's right. Mile 11. It's on Hollywood Boulevard, right before Orange Street Drive, whatever it is, right next to the Hotel Roosevelt and across the street from the TCL Chinese Theater.
Awesome, man. Well, look, Chris Lafferty, I don't know that you and I are going to talk on Sunday. I don't know what state you're going to be in after you finish all the craziness, my man, but good luck. And of course, to Panda and everybody else, Neil, our good buddy, and everyone else who's running the LA Marathon this weekend. Obviously, I unfortunately won't be able to see everybody in at BMO Stadium tomorrow. So you guys are going to have to hold it down out there. All the Defenders faithful, the millions.
And millions.
And you know how we like to end each one of these things, even one more sleep. And again, Lafferty's got 3-1. I've got 2-1. Hit us up in the chat. Let us know what you've got. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. And as always, thank you guys for being a part of the Defenders family. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.